Seeing the success of Coffy in 1973, director Jack Hill decided to make a sequel to Pam Grier called Burn, Coffy, Burn. Unfortunately, the studio that made Coffy, AIP, was like, hell nah, and Jack Hill broke ties with them. A little under a year later, they finally regained contact with each other, but AIP no longer wanted to do a sequel, and so Foxy Brown took that sequel's place. After one of the most badass opening credit scenes ever shot on film, we then cut to a guy named Link Brown, played by Antonio Fargas, who's being attacked by two thugs. And so he calls his sister, Foxy Brown, the title character, for help. When she arrives, she badly injures the thugs, then takes Link back to her house, where she scolds him for his actions. She then goes to visit her boyfriend, Dalton Ford. I'm sorry, Michael Anderson, played by Terry Carter. And just when he gets out of the hospital, he's shot in the back by the same group of thugs that she ran over. And unfortunately, he dies in Foxy's arms. Devastated and enraged, she goes to Link's apartment and violently asks him some questions, even shooting him in his ear to talk. It is then revealed that the whole operation was led by a woman named Catherine Wall, who has a modeling agency. Yeah, a modeling agency. You might be asking, okay, what does this have to do? Don't worry, that's up next. Once she gets to the modeling agency, she poses as a woman named Misty Cotton, and she meets, said Miss Catherine Wall, played by Catherine Loder, unfortunately in her final movie role as she died 4 years later. Anyway, she's granted approval and then meets one of the fellow prostitutes, Claudia, played by Juanita Brown. This is kind of off plot, but I'm going to share this anyway. So they go to the apartment of a judge and seduce him and then embarrass him in front of everybody. How? The same old seducing stuff. And then they trip him and they fall outside the door. Unfortunately, due to this, Miss Catherine ties her up and eventually sends her to a house with two weirdos who give her doses of heroin and do some really questionable things to her. A little while later, she sees a razor blade hanging by a basket and she uses her tongue to grab it before slicing her ropes. She then chucks that razor blade at one of the weirdos before setting the house on fire by spraying gasoline. Meanwhile, with Link, oh, you forgot that guy existed? Well, here's one more scene. And it's the thugs shooting him to death and slitting his girlfriend's throat. Craziness at its finest, but at the same time, well deserved. She then goes to a Black Panthers meeting, then gets a pilot to fly over to where the remainder of the thugs are at. She slices and dices them all with the engine, and just when she needs help, the Black Panthers gang up on the thugs and kill every last one of them, except for one. Catherine's boyfriend, Steve Elias, played by Peter Brown, is eventually castrated. Okay, what? I have so many questions. Foxy then goes over to Catherine's house, where she has a jar that contains Steve's you-know-what. She's horrified as Foxy kills Catherine's remaining bodyguards, then shoots her in her arm. She questions why Foxy won't kill her, and she answers that she needs to suffer just like the way she made her. Catherine is left screaming in pain as Foxy gets a ride. Overall, I'd say the action scenes are awesome. Pam Grier is beautiful as she was in the last movie, perhaps even more beautiful, and the characters are really well fleshed out. Except, my one little flaw with this one is that the really questionable things they do to Foxy are really unnecessary. But that don't stop it from being a good movie. Overall, I rate this movie a 9.7 out of 10.
You tell me who you want done, and I'll do the hell out of it.